Hello everyone, this is BigKlingy and oh my god, Lucia and Robert just got revealed for Smash Bros. Wait a minute, I'm supposed to be talking about Pokemon. Okay, just put that out of my system for a moment and get on to what I was supposed to be talking about. I have just come back from Nationals, and this was my first time ever attending Australian Nationals, well, mostly because this is the second year we've had Nationals. Yeah, Nintendo didn't acknowledge us for so long, but we're gonna change that, yes, and this, wow, Nationals was so much bigger than anyone really expected. To put things in perspective, they said registration officially would go from 8 AM to 10 PM. Registration actually finished at 12:40. Yeah, and they got a lot more, they got like about, I think it was 447 competitors in the Masters tournament, 96 in juniors, which is amazing considering that previously we had 10 juniors last year. So that's a pretty massive turnout, and we had about 120 something seniors. So over 600 in all, and definitely far beyond any expectations. It was an amazing day, I will say. So, yeah, the day before I had to get up at about 4:30 AM to catch a flight out, and then had to wake up at about 6:30 to get over there to the Nationals venue, which is, you're seeing here, the Town Hall in Melbourne. Yeah, I don't live locally there, so I actually had to fly out. And a lot more people flew out than was probably expected, so that was pretty cool to see Pokemon fans from all over Australia gathering together to show that, yes, we do have a demographic here. Please acknowledge us more. But yeah, Nationals was, yeah, such a great day, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone who's really a Pokemon fan. Even if you're not competing, it's such an amazing experience, it really is. There's just so much to do, and the atmosphere is so friendly. Everyone was, you know, all friendly. We all shook each other's hands before matches. We all chatted before and after battles, talking about, yeah, what the event was like. Afterwards, we discussed what went wrong, what we did with our teams. And everyone was just really friendly and stuff. It's nowhere near the whole, you know, as super serious as most people think it would be. It's actually a really fun and amazing experience. So, okay, though I will say, this was probably due to them underestimating the registration numbers, but it did go on very long, and we did all end up very tired by the end of it. Well, quite a while of battles, so speaking of the battles, I'm going to get straight to my actual report on my battles for the day. As for my team, I'll talk about that later. You're going to be seeing some Wi-Fi battles featuring my team in a few moments, just after this video. Basically, the battles that you'll see are battles that I did on Wi-Fi to test out my team before Nationals, and it tested out very well, I must say. One extremely annoying thing though, you might be wondering why I'm going to talk about my battles rather than upload them. Well, that's because I can't, and this is something that I didn't realise until the day. I had cleared space in my Versus recorder just for this. I was so looking forward to recording my battles and uploading them here on YouTube, and I had some amazing battles that I would have loved to record. What I didn't realise was, battles at Nationals are done using the live competition feature from the game's startup menu. And interestingly enough, this feature does not allow you to save battle replays to your Versus recorder. Oh, this is so annoying, and I understand why they do that, just to keep privacy. It also doesn't show nicknames, which is really annoying because I went to the trouble of nicknaming my whole team just for the sake of this competition. But yeah. So, no YouTube videos. Now, it does keep a record of the last match you've played saved, and I might video one of those. Just be warned that it'll be crappy camcorder quality, but I might just do one of those, my last match, so I wish I could do more, but no. Anyway, so, onto my actual battles. Now, I'm kind of glad that I brought a notepad and pen to take notes, because this means that I've actually noted down everyone's teams. Now, I've never really taken notes on a tournament before, so I don't really do it that much, but at least, as an unintentional side effect, it means that I had the teams of everyone I faced written down. So, my first round match was against someone who I actually knew from an earlier tournament in Sydney. And his team consisted of Rotom Heat, Venusaur, Kangaskhan, Garchomp, Azumarill, and Tyranitar, a fairly standard team. And so we begin our match, and from the very beginning, both the pressure and the fact that I had to wake up at 4:30 the following morning, and I woke up at 6:30 this morning, and just believe me, I was pretty much up all night with my heart pounding harder than it has ever had before, so I didn't really sleep well the following night. And it showed when I got to my first match, and I made quite possibly the single biggest derp in my entire Pokemon career. Yes. When the other people who I knew found out about this, yeah, I was kind of a laughingstock for doing this. But I'll go and say it now. I forgot that Rotom Heat had Levitate. Yes, you heard me. I forgot Rotom Heat had Levitate. Yes, I still beat myself up over it. I was like, oh look, it's Rotom Heat, Earthquake, yeah. Wow. The match ended with me getting 4-0'd. So that was not the best start. Even if I had not done that though, it wasn't exactly the best matchup for me. There was a Garchomp mirror match, but his was scarfed, so I would have lost that anyway. I was kind of assuming that I was losing speed ties, but his was scarfed. And yeah, I might have been able to do better at that overall if I had not forgotten about that stupid Rotom, but anyway. So, that was match 1. Not a good start. So, I move on to match number 2. Match number 2, I face an opponent with a fairly interesting team. They use here, I believe, I just wrote abbreviations here, so some of these names might be not so much. Talonflame, Lucario, I believe, Vaporeon, Gardevoir, and... Actually, yeah, some of these I can't even read my own notes. But at the very least, they use Vaporeon, which was interesting, Gardevoir, which was Mega, and Talonflame. Now, before the match, my opponent looked at a particular Pokemon on my team and said, hey, I've never seen anyone use that before. And at that moment, inside my head, I went, yes! Because this Pokemon on my team, well, this is the first time I've used it, but I was encouraged to use it from an earlier tournament where I faced this thing, and it totally destroyed me because I wasn't prepared for it. This Pokemon is one that will totally destroy you if you are not prepared for it. And when my opponent said they'd never seen one before, I felt pretty confident that I actually had the win here. And I did. Well, I eventually encored Mega Gardevoir into Protect and made it completely useless, and well, things went pretty smoothly from there. So, match number 2 went my way, and I'm now 1-all. Next was match number 3, where my opponent has a Gyarados and a Staraptor, but he doesn't use either of them. He actually uses Rotom Heat, Venusaur, Mr. Mime, and Steelix. This was quite a surprising team to come up against, and I almost paid the price for it on the very first turn, when Mr. Mime used a move I wasn't expecting, Wide Guard. Yep, I knew there must have been a reason why they used Mr. Mime. Now, I kind of remembered earlier on seeing that Mr. Mime did learn Wide Guard, but it kind of makes sense, you know, it makes invisible walls. But I wasn't entirely, aware of this. Well, I just kind of forgot about it, so that surprised me. However, a certain Pokemon I was using that would have normally been shut down by Wide Guard, in fact went for a single targeting move that turn anyway, so it didn't really matter. I did, however, miss an overheat on said Mr. Mime early on, so the match did not go on to the best start for me. However, later on, things did turn around. Strangely, my opponent actually used Mega Venusaur, which makes sense since they didn't really have any other Mega, but the weird thing about that is, it would have been better for them if they didn't Mega. I was utterly terrified of them abusing chlorophyll-boosted sleep powders, which they would have had if they hadn't gone into Mega. And, well, this just goes to show that sometimes Mega Evolving might not be the best thing. The match would have been a lot more difficult for me if they actually hadn't gone Mega, but, well, they did, and later on I was able to encore the Steelix into Protect, because I was kind of worried about it using a rock move on a certain other thing I had, and take it out pretty easily. So, match 3 goes to me. So, I enter in round 4, and round 4 was a fairly interesting battle. My opponent had an Aegislash in their team, but they didn't actually use it, and weirdly enough, this means that I never actually fought an Aegislash all tournament, which kind of surprised me. What they did use was Mega Kangaskhan, Meowstic, Hydreigon, and Rotom Heat. Seeing a lot of Rotom Heats lately. Previously they were almost exclusively Wash, but I've been seeing a lot of Heats at the moment. So, this was an interesting battle, and I kind of shut down this Meowstic with Quick Guard a little bit early on. However, my opponent did miss Will-O-Wisp against me twice, which, well, I felt really bad for them doing it. Admittedly, the first time was against something where it really wouldn't have mattered. The second time it missed, it probably did matter. But, that's just how it goes with Will-O-Wisp sometimes. Funny, they buffed its accuracy this generation, but it still seems to miss as much as ever, if not more. But I win that round, and that puts me at 3-1, heading into, I believe, the lunch break of the tournament. And things were looking pretty up. 3 wins, 1 loss was a pretty good record, and yeah, I felt pretty confident having lunch going into the next round. And unfortunately, that's where things started to go a bit downhill for me. My next match was against a Rain team, surprisingly, that involved Ludicolo and Politoed as well as a Mega Mawile. Now, I actually forgot the 4th Pokemon that he used because I didn't actually write down this person's team. I sort of stopped taking notes at this point. The thing is, this match was amazing, and it infuriates me to no end that I can't record and upload this. This match was one of the best that I've ever had. A certain Pokemon on my team with a certain move that I had doubts about at first, all my doubts gone. It did so well, taking that Mega Mawile down, breaking through a couple of Protects. Yes, the move in question was Faint, you'll see it in action later. And eventually it came down to just 2 Pokemon. His weakened Politoed versus my full health, something you'll see later. And there's a certain move choice I could have made where, in hindsight, had I known I would survive its Scald, I probably could have won. But I really couldn't have known that in hindsight, and it was a pretty fair result, I felt anyway. I lost that match, but it was extremely close, so I felt alright with that. So that put me at 3-2. Next would be the 6th round. Now, my 6th round was actually kind of a little bit interesting and needs a bit of explanation. My opponent here actually had to leave the tournament very soon, and we had a bit of problems connecting, and he actually said that he was going to leave and give me the win if things didn't actually work out with the connection, because, yeah, he basically had a long trip home and had to be there by a certain point, so he basically urgently needed to leave. We did end up getting the connection to work, and we played the match, in which, well, he had a Sylveon on his team, but he didn't use it. He had Amoonguss, Salamence, Manectric, and Talonflame. Now, this match was a complete and utter embarrassment for me. He leads with the Salamence and the Manectric, and then Megas the Manectric immediately. Unfortunately for him, I had something with Defiant on the field, so he just gave me 2 boosts. I then Sucker Punch his Salamence, because I feel confident that there's no way it's not going to use anything that isn't an attacking move, since 99.99% of all Salamances are Scarfed. Honestly, I actually don't like using choice items in VGC, but that's just me. So, take out the Salamence easily, and I've got a +2 Pokemon with Sucker Punch on the field. I've pretty much got this match totally my way, and it's pretty much my game to lose, and exactly that's what happens. In a later turn, I screw up and make an over-prediction. He's got that Mega Manectric out and Talonflame. My initial thought is to Sucker Punch the Manectric, and then just derp around my second Pokemon because their move choice is not going to matter, seeing as I figure Talonflame is going to protect. Halfway through the turn I panic. I think, wait a minute, the Manectric's not much of a threat to me while I have a certain Pokemon on the field that can absorb electric-type moves. And I think that Talonflame might be a problem to me with its priority. So I suddenly switch over to hitting the Talonflame with a Thunderbolt, and Quick Guarding on the Bisharp to block off any Talonflame retaliation. So obviously, Talonflame protects, and Mega Manectric overheats Bisharp into oblivion. Suddenly, I've lost my massive lead. Yeah. Really, I think if you've got a gut instinct for a turn, go with your gut. Don't switch plans mid-turn, it rarely works out, I find. Had I gone with my original plan of Sucker Punching the Manectric, I would definitely have won that battle, no questions asked. But, alas, it was not to be. I did take out Talonflame later on with a lucky aiming a water-type move at it as it switched in, so that was kind of cool. But his last two were Amoonguss and Manectric. I made the mistake of encoring Manectric into Snarl, thinking that would stop it from using ridiculously overpowered overheats against me. The thing is, really, it being free to use overheats would have helped me as it would lower its own special attack. Being locked into Snarl, it hit my whole field with so many special attack drops. My Pokemon were pretty much totally useless, and I ended up having to forfeit the match because I couldn't do anything to his team. The thing is though, here's where things get a little interesting, and I will admit that I do feel kind of bad about this. My opponent, seeing as they were actually leaving, decided to give me the win for that match because they figured that they would never make it to Top Cut anyway as they were, leaving. And they figured that if they gave me the win, that at least I had a chance of going further. That was a very nice gesture, and it felt really bad to turn it down, so I admit that I kind of did that, probably to make myself feel better more than anything else. Because, yeah, I was pretty depressed after that misplay. I really definitely deserved to lose that battle, but my opponent was nice enough to kind of give me the win there. But honestly, I don't consider that an actual victory. So, next is round 7. Now, for all we knew, this was the last round. Earlier on, they thought we'd be playing 7 Swiss rounds. Oh yeah, by the way, these were Swiss rounds, by the way, and I'm so glad they were, because otherwise I would have flown out here for nothing, losing in the first round. Anyway, round 7. Match 7 was easily the worst of the entire tournament for me. The thing is, this was a terrible matchup for my team, and I reckon I could not have won even if I tried. They basically had Mega Kangaskhan, Garchomp, Salamence, Gengar, and a few other top OU Pokemon in their team. I can counter all of those things individually, but all at once, no chance. There was just way too much good stuff in, and the team had so much raw power behind it, I really felt there was no way I could possibly win, and yeah, sure enough, I did lose quite decisively. The Gengar encoring one of my Pokemon, not encoring, taunting my Encore user didn't help my case. But the thing was, I kind of felt not too bad about myself with that loss. That, I could not have won that matchup. That was an awful matchup for me, and there's no way I could have beaten that team. So, this was really late. It was about 6:30 at night at this point, and we were all really tired. And they announced there'd be 2 more rounds. Hooray! I was about to fall asleep at this point, and I played match 8. The whole match was pretty much a total blur. I was pretty much running on pure autopilot, and I barely even registered what I was doing. Strangely enough, my calls were almost flawless, and I actually won the match. I don't know how it happened, but somehow I managed to totally shut down a Talonflame and Mega Mawile through Quick Guard. Their Talonflame couldn't do anything, their Mawile Sucker Punches were rendered useless by Quick Guard, and I took them out pretty easily. Then eventually, he brings in a Hydreigon and takes out one of my key players with a Choice Scarfed. Well, I know it's Choice Scarfed because that's the only way he would have been faster than me. Draco Meteor. And at this, my opponent sealed their fate. Because, unbeknownst to them, I had a Fairy type in the wings. And if that Hydreigon was the last thing left on the field, they only had 2 Pokemon left. I took out their Talonflame, leaving their Hydreigon alone, unable to switch, locked into a Dragon-type move with me having a Fairy. It was over. So, I get another win. And that puts me on officially 4-4 out of 8 matches, which is not all that bad. So, we go on to match 9, and at this point I didn't even know there would be a 9th match, and I was just wanting it to be over, really. But match 9 was interesting, and this match I won't talk about too much because I actually still have it saved and might actually record. Match 9 was a very, very interesting match, and my opponent making a very unexpected move and using a very underrated Pokemon might have lost me the game, had I not got a bit of hacks on my side, I will admit. I won the match, and that puts me at effectively 5-4, officially 6-3 due to that one person giving me the win, but I still consider it 5-4. So honestly, 5-4 is a pretty good result I felt for my very first Nationals, and overall, they put me at 77th out of over 440 competitors. That's an alright result, I will admit, so for my first time. But more than that, I was really hoping just to come out with more wins than losses, and I did, so that wasn't that bad. I'm kind of fine with 5-4. Yeah, the thing is, that guy, I know that you're probably all hating on me for accepting that person who gave me the win and all. I would not have made top cart even with that, because the bare minimum for top cart, which was top 32, turned out to be 7-2. So, yeah. I would not have got in there even with that person giving me the win. So, yeah. But the interesting thing that I found about Top Cut was that only one person out of 447 was 9-0. And there, I believe, lies the failure of in-game battle facilities. No player, no matter how good, can be expected to win all the time. That there is proof. Only one 9-0 out of 447 people. I think that really does say something. So, anyway, 5-4, I still consider that a good result. I was really proud of my team. You'll be seeing them shortly, and all in all, Nationals was a great experience. So, any advice for people who want to go to Nationals? Well, just a few things about actually doing it. I'd probably recommend flying out not a day earlier, but 2 days earlier, giving you 1 full day to rest before the competition. Yeah, because having an early flight and then having to get up early the next day kind of took its toll on me for my first match. You'd also probably want to be prepared for a long day. You will probably be there over 12 hours. Definitely go and buy a whole set of bottles of water beforehand. You will need them. And definitely, yeah, make sure you get food throughout the day as well. As for what team to take, it's really up to you. And the interesting thing is, if you go ahead and actually look at the teams that actually placed in the top 4 at this regionals, or nationals that I went to, they're surprisingly non-standard. Sure, they have maybe half of the team comprised of standard Pokemon, but a lot of them used some interesting choices. The first place winner here used Heliolisk, Venusaur, Mienshao, Aegislash, Charizard Y, and Staraptor. The second place person, though, actually had a really interesting team. Mega Gyarados, Rotom Fan, yes, Rotom Fan, really, Nidoqueen, Ferrothorn, Lapras, and Tyranitar. So, don't think that you can only win by just using standard Pokemon. You will need to know how to counter standard Pokemon. So, if you are going with more unconventional choices, at least make sure they're good unconventional choices. In other words, unconventional choices that can handle the standard Pokemon. So, you'll want to make sure you're prepared for the standard Pokemon and can handle them. But, if you might have noticed, in fact, wow, this is interesting. If you're going through the top teams in this Australian Nationals, you don't see a Kangaskhan until number 8. So, yeah, you don't actually have to use Mega Kangaskhan to win. The top 7 all did not use Mega Kangaskhan at all. So, if you're worried about that, yeah, and of course I'm kind of glad that no Dark Void teams got into the top 10, but still, I'm lucky I didn't run into any Dark Void teams. There was someone I knew who did run into one of them. They're always annoying to go up against, but anyway. So, like I said, yeah, you'll notice that a surprising number of top players use non-standard teams, so don't, yeah, feel discouraged if you're not wanting to use a fully standard team. Again, though, yeah, it's really player skill that matters more than anything. If you're using unconventional picks, make sure that you know make sure that you choose them for a reason, and that you know how to use them well. And that there, I believe, wraps up my Nationals coverage. So, I'll be showing some Wi-Fi battles with my Nationals team soon. So, I'll see you guys then, and if you've paid attention to this, thank you for watching. Congratulations to all those who competed, and yeah, let's make Australia proud. For all those of you who are going to Worlds, let's show them, yeah, not to underestimate us. And with that, I'll sign off.